Hey, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for coming today. Yes, I appreciate it. We are in Columbia County?
Yes.
Columbia County, New York. Yes, Columbia County, New York. We're at stop number, I believe we're at 46. We're at stop number 46 of 62, crossing all of New York State again this year, the third time in a row. Why in the world would I be doing that? Why am I bugging you guys every day? Today, 4 times or so. Another trip. Why? Because it matters. Because it really does matter. If you're not paying attention to what's happening, online or on TV, you're probably paying attention in your own family, in your own homes. Politics right now is so divisive, it is literally breaking up families. There are brothers who won't talk to sisters, dads who won't talk to moms, nieces who won't talk to uncles. That kind of thing's happening because people are so divisive. They are so angry. They are so mad they won't even talk. I get it. Across my state too. In my family too. I get it. But there is an answer. And the answer is looking for a third party. And that is Libertarian movement, Libertarian Party. This is what we're talking about. You look to vote gold this year, and all of a sudden now there's a chance for us to bring our country back together. I'll ask you an important question. You hear everyone say it. Larry, this is the most important election ever. I hear it. And they're right. It's too important not to vote gold. Absolutely. It's too important not to vote gold. Why? Because, look, if the Democrats do well in this election or Republicans do well in this election, which party is going to heal our country? Yeah, neither. Neither. If Democrats win, they will put their agenda forward and Republicans will be angry. If Republicans win, they will put their agenda forward and Democrats will be angry. That will happen either way, right? And if you lean left or lean right, I hope your side wins. Good luck. But if you lean left or right and your side doesn't win, guess what? You're the one who's getting the boot on the neck for the next 4 years. I would like no one to get the boot on the neck. I would like no one's agenda to be pushed. I would like instead for us to talk about how can we actually solve problems. We can do that. The advantage we do have here in New York State is actually now an official party as of 2019, is now an official party. We have victories last year, we have more victories this year. I'm going to bring on someone who's helping us to build that party even more, the actual chair of the New York Libertarian Party, Cody Anderson.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I think all of you know we have an existential threat. When we gained ballot access after Larry's showing at the 2018 gubernatorial election, we were told we're going to have ballot access for 4 years. We look forward to developing the party. We look forward to driving enrollment, and we have since we obtained ballot access. We have literally doubled the membership of the state party.
Yes.
This is just even since February. Since the February primary cutoff, we've increased it by 25%. So the message of liberty, the message of a third choice, the message of something other than what we're doing is really resonating. You all may also know we had a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit that was filed by the Working Families Party, the Conservative Party, that knocked down all the recommendations that were to become law of the Public Finance Commission that increased ballot access thresholds from 50,000 votes every 4 years to 160,000 votes every 2 years. That was knocked down in court, and then under cover of COVID in March, Governor Cuomo and the legislature snuck it into the end of the budget bill. We are now looking down the barrel of 160,000 votes at the presidential election. We have a lawsuit that we filed with the Green Party to knock that down based on a more than novel argument. It's a federal lawsuit. We'd love your support for that. LPNY.org, donate. But in the meantime, we can't rest on our laurels. We cannot rely on that lawsuit to solve our problems. What we need to do is turn out as a party. As individuals, we all need to become convincers and influencers to convince people why a vote for a Democrat or a vote for a Republican in New York State, either of those is a wasted vote. For a vote that will make a difference, we need to vote with votes for Joe Jorgensen and our other candidates like Charles and Victoria, but mostly for Joe, because we need to maintain ballot access, and the only way to do that is to win our lawsuit, outcome unknown, or we need to get 160,000 votes on the Libertarian line for Joe Jorgensen. So I'm asking everyone here in this room, I'm asking everybody out there on the internet, is very important that we turn out. We vote for Joe Jorgensen. Absentee ballot, in person, early voting, however you can do it. Please come out, vote Libertarian, and after that, continue to vote Libertarian. Support your local candidates, and we will make a difference here in New York. Thank you all for coming today.
Alrighty. You see, I'm taking my mask off because we are more than 6 feet away. We are social distancing, so don't get mad at me. We are doing it, absolutely. So yes, I appreciate that so much, Cody. Being our new chair, thank you. You've seen the vision. I'm glad you have it. I'm so happy. As you know, I'm behind you 100%. We have to do that. He's right. We've got to vote gold up and down the ticket, right? Up and down the ticket. If you happen, everyone in the country is going to have Joe Jorgensen on your ballot. So if you have her on your ballot, vote Joe Jorgensen, obviously. If you don't, if you only have her, that's great. But you probably have other libertarians also on your ballot. Different parts of the country, different parts of New York, there are other libertarians on the ballot. And I'm asking you one important thing. Don't just go back to your old ways and vote all red or all blue. Instead, look at who's on your ballot and decide who is the right person, the best person you could possibly put up, the best person who you could vote for. But Larry, you don't understand. I've got to support the red team or the blue team, or your guy can never win. Well, maybe my guy or gal can never win. Maybe that's true. Maybe they can't. But I would argue that in most parts of this country, everything is gerrymandered so much that we already know who's going to win anyway. In fact, we know which red or which blue person can't win either. We already know because it's a red district or a blue district. Does that stop you from voting? Well, some people it does. It shouldn't. But it shouldn't. You should be saying to yourself, I should vote for the right person either way. And exactly to Cody's point, a wasted vote in a state like New York, if you vote for Biden or Trump in New York, you are literally throwing your vote in the garbage. Biden is going to win New York. I don't know who's going to win the election, but either Biden wins the election with New York or Trump wins the election without New York. Either way, Trump does not get New York. Either way, Biden gets New York. So why in the world would I vote for Biden or Trump if I live in New York? Why wouldn't I do exactly what Cody said? Vote Libertarian, particularly top of the ticket, Joe Jorgensen, so that we can maintain ballot access. We can keep the options here in New York State. We need those choices. We have to break duopoly. If we don't break duopoly, you know what actually happens? It becomes a cartel system and a monopoly. And we see it everywhere. We see red counties and blue counties, and red states and blue states. And each of them agrees, you don't run anybody over there, I won't run anybody over here, and we can keep our own monopolies, and no one gets better. That's what's happening. I'm going to bring in somebody who's running locally, who talks about breaking duopoly all the time. A friend of mine, someone who has supported my campaign, who has supported many campaigns throughout New York State. He's running now. Man himself, Charles Senrick.
Thanks, Larry. Hi, everybody. Here in New York State, we have a front row seat to what the Democratic and Republican parties are doing to this state and to the nation. In one corner, we have Donald Trump and the Republicans. Who Donald Trump basically believes, often expresses his admiration and jealousy of authoritative leaders such as Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, and Recep Erdogan. And he basically asked his attorney general to, if he could throw his political opponent in jail Yet he also wants his convicted cronies released from prison. And he governs basically by insult and name calling, yet supports the Saudi government, which is hurting, has been prosecuting a war against Yemen, and also killed a journalist, Saudi journalist who was living and working in the United States at the time. And the Republicans and Trump basically have, over the first 2 years of his term in office, increased the national debt by more than $500 billion than Barack Obama spent in the 2 last years of his term. So in this corner, we have Andrew Cuomo and the Democrats, although it's mainly Andrew Cuomo because the other Democrats seem to back him. His own budget office had projected $6 billion deficit prior to coronavirus coming to town. Since it has come in, that projection has more than doubled. And because of the fact that the legislature basically abdicated their responsibilities to the governor and then left town, allowing him to basically close businesses and start his noontime with Father Andy shows, daily shows, where he would tell us how he was using science to make these decisions. One question I would have would be, what scientific reason was there for determining that, say, liquor stores are necessary, essential businesses? And why, when you're reopening, it's okay to reopen gyms, but movie theaters are still not open? So I think these are the choices you have. Supposedly, that's what the media tells us, that these are the choices you have. But what I'm saying is that I would want somebody who is willing to support all our rights all the time.
Yes.
So I encourage everybody to vote like I do for libertarian candidates who are willing to help protect your rights all the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles. I appreciate that. And I get what you're saying. I really agree with the idea that if we just look at, I look at left and right and nothing else, I get left authoritarian or right authoritarian, whether that's at my county level or my state level or my national level. I completely agree. Here's the best part, though. Some of you out there, I'm hoping all of you are registered libertarians, but some may be not. I know many of you are not registered libertarians. I get it. I wish you all were. Please become registered libertarians. But even if you're not, I get it. Some of you are saying, but Larry, I like you Liberty guys, you're nice, but I'm still a Republican or I'm still a Democrat, whatever. I get it. But here's what I hope you'll understand. That if we have a strong Libertarian Party, you will have better Democrats. You will have better Republicans. You know, Charles said it. He said in New York State, we basically just have King Andrew, right? King Andrew Cuomo II. Oh, hello, King. We have him who controls everything, right? Because Republicans have basically walked away. They don't care. And Democrats go, whatever you say, Your Majesty. And now it's become one-party rule. Two-party rule becomes one-party rule. That's how it works. Could you imagine if there was a strong third party in the state? Could you imagine if it actually was? Democrats are supposed to be about civil liberties. They're not, but it's supposed to be. Republicans are supposed to be about smaller government and less taxes. They're not, but they're supposed to be. But if it actually was a third party, Libertarian Party, to pull those parties towards liberty, you'd actually have better Democrats and better Republicans. And I know, even if you're a Democrat or Republican, you would rather have better ones. We could have better ones. And even your lesser of two evil argument might actually not be too evil. It might actually be some good. It does matter. There are people here that matter to vote Libertarian, and it's a bigger piece of the pie. It isn't just this guy or this person or this individual. It is a movement that matters to make everything better. I'm going to bring up somebody right now, if I could, who's trying to make that happen here locally in New York State. It's a federal office, though, so she's running for Congress, but she cares about New York State and her district. I'm bringing her up right now, Victoria Alexander.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for doing this full Sharpe event. I'm on number 10 of 11 counties. So thanks everybody for coming. We just talked a little bit about how we have a two-party system that becomes a one-party system, and I want to bring up something that's very important to me: decentralizing the power. Many people talk about how the government should have control over everything, or no, private businesses should have control over everything. Well, listen, if they were separate, then maybe we would have a system that worked. Maybe there would be some checks and balances on the two, but what we have is the convergence of government and corporations. That's where we find ourselves. And so neither the corporations nor the political elite get checked when they do harm, and they are not subject to the law. So that's where we find ourselves. Now, we were just talking a little bit about how, oh, there's a fly in the room. I was on,
must be somewhere near.
I was on WNET yesterday, and there was a fly buzzing around, but I said, oh, I have fly colored hair, so it should be fine. We were just talking about how libertarians talk about issues, they talk about facts. They don't use a lot of rhetoric, and they're not embattled in this, this hate with the other party, because we see the problems and the good things on both sides. So we're not fighting all the time, and that's maybe a little bit boring. Sorry. Maybe I could do something shocking or insult someone, but it's just not in my nature. What I want to talk about is where the power comes from, because that's what the problem is. Power, the concentration of power. So where do people get power from? Well, they get it from laws, and they get it from money. And these two things have merged in our society and in our culture. So I'm going to talk about something that no one wants to hear. Where does the money come from? Where does the money come from? People talk about where it goes, whatever. Where does it come from? In the 1980s, we had about $2 trillion in the money stock that was circulating in the economy. Today, we have about 18 trillion. And $1 trillion is a lot of money. It's beyond the human capacity to imagine or understand, really. It's a lot of money. So who created that money? How did they do it? And who got it? That's a lot of money. Money is created. People don't think about that. They think it just, goes from one person's hand to another. No, new money is created out of thin air. Well, the 1% right now have about a third of the wealth in the United States. Together, the top 10% have about 60% of the wealth in the United States. And the bottom 50% of Americans have less than 2% of the wealth in America. The bottom 50% of Americans have less than 2% of the wealth. Why aren't you out there with your torches and your pitchforks? The Federal Reserve was founded in 1913 by bankers for bankers. The banking industry creates the money. They took that power away from the Treasury. It doesn't have to be that way. We could end the Fed. Dr. Ron Paul has talked about that for decades. We could end the Fed. Give the power back to the Treasury to make US dollars. But here's the thing. You can't just make them for anything. You can't just make money and spend it on war or welfare. If you create new money, you have to get goods and services for that. Otherwise, you create inflation. Because if you create a lot of money, like we've been doing with the stimulus bills and throughout the entire Obama administration, there was quantitative easing. They were just making money that's not even backed by debt. They were just making money. With the recent COVID stimulus bills, overnight they made trillions of dollars. It's not even backed by debt. It's not backed by goods and services. They just threw it out there, and everyone is staying home. They're not even making any products to sell. So when you throw money out there and there's nothing to buy, inflation goes up. That's what we're looking at. This is going to happen really soon. What the Treasury could do is take back the power, and every time the Treasury makes a new dollar bill, spend it on public infrastructure. Something tangible, something that's not going to disappear overnight. And you can use that money to build hospitals, roads, trains, broadband, schools, and then you won't have to tax to build that infrastructure. And then you can charge the public reasonable fees to use it. That makes good, sound business sense. That's good monetary policy. So I'm not here to tell you that we need to tax the rich in order to give the money to the poor. What I'm here to say is that we have to stop giving money to the rich and taking money from the poor.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody. I want you all to look at my website and find out more about how we can solve some of these problems. DirectDemocracyUS.org. Victoria Alexander. I'm running in District 19 of New York. Thank you.
Absolutely. So happy that we have candidates here who actually know what they're talking about, who care about making real progress and solving problems. I want to ask you, when you think about the average Republican or Democrat who's out there right now, probably on your ballot somewhere, or maybe it's TV commercial or something like that, what does the average one say? You got to vote for me because the other one is bad. If you watch a TV commercial, it literally says things like this: the other guy is going to kill your children, but not me. That's the ad, right? I'm not going to kill your children is the ad. The other guy will. That's the ad. And we're voting for that. Not here's an actual answer how to make sure nobody's children are killed. That's an actual answer. That's what our party represents. We are the only party, the only movement that can actually heal this nation. If you don't want to heal this nation, I get it. I'm going to fight the left or fight the right. Remember something. When you're fighting the left or fighting the right, these are your neighbors. These are your family members. These are fellow Americans. You are encouraging your own civil war with glee. Or you can say, I don't want to fight the right. I don't want to fight the left. I want us all to live together, left or right. If you think that way, you have to vote Libertarian. You have to vote Gold this year. If we build out our party well enough this year, the year after, next year, and the year after that, we are ready to bring people in to heal this country. We are the only movement that can heal this country. That's it. And you saw people here who want to do it, who are actively trying to do it. Support them. Support the people you saw here. Vote Gold this year. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for today. Bye-bye. Thank you guys.